Good evening, guys, and happy Monday to all your sunshiny faces. So guys, as I've been saying for the last couple days, I was supposed to be going over to my aunt's house tomorrow to go and stay for a couple nights. I was going to stay for 2 nights up until Thursday to go and organize her pictures, but she actually ended up having to reschedule. So I am not going over there, so I can actually get some more things done. Like, honestly, because I knew I was going to be gone for a couple days, like I was kind of trying to like prepare and kind of get all my ducks in a row, I guess, a little bit before I ended up, you know, going over there. So like that's why there was like, I was doing like other stuff, you know, and again too, I was also thinking about like, you know, okay, what do I need to do like packing wise, and you know, thinking about that kind of stuff too. And I told you guys too, I was getting some of my food stuff together. I was planning on bringing over there, but again, that has ended up changing. So I am now going to you know, like I'm not entirely sure when we are rescheduling for exactly when, but like I said, we're gonna have to probably figure out at some point when we're gonna wind up doing that. But because you know, again, I was kind of preparing over this weekend especially, I was trying to, you know, get certain things done, and so I wasn't focusing on other things too. Like I was trying to get vlogs a lot more caught up with like during the week too, but then over the weekend I was like trying to make sure I got staying on top of dishes and laundry and stuff like that. So again, now that you know, I was able to kind of get done today whatever I needed to, just because I was like, okay, today's gonna have to be the day where like I pack, and I wasn't really planning on like doing any editing or anything like that. So instead though, I did wind up getting to 2 vlogs. I did wind up getting to laundry today as well. And on top of that too, guys, I ended up, which I was pretty proud of myself, because I've never completely done this from scratch before. I think maybe I might have, but not exactly the way I ended up doing it today. I ended up making like bone broth soup. I ended up doing like from scratch like chicken broth. So when we ended up getting that chicken, the whole frying chicken at Jewel, we got like a 4.5 pound chicken or something like that. It was under $5 and it was 99 cents a pound, so it was a pretty good price. I think it was normally like $1.50 per pound or close to it, so we didn't get it for like, you know, again, like super cheap, but it was still a pretty good deal. So again, we ended up doing that. We only got, you know, it was $5, whatever. And then although my mom wasn't really feeling that great on Sunday when I ended up making it, she did wind up eating some of it, but I did wind up having leftovers. So I had probably at least a whole like chicken breast plus a little bit more left on, like, you know, the leftovers from the chicken. So then today I was like, okay, you know what I'll do? I will wind up turning it into chicken noodle soup, which was not on my meal plan originally, but because I had like so much left over, sometimes if I don't, like if I'm like, there's really not that much meat left here, I won't wind up doing it. Like if it was picked pretty clean, then I'll just wind up like, you know, again, tossing it. Even though I could still make like broth out of it, it's just storing the broth is like difficult. So since I was just gonna like make the broth today and then use it in the soup today at the same time, I was like, that's a little bit easier. So that was what my plan was. So I ended up doing that like this morning. I ended up cooking the like all of the bones down and everything like that, and then ended up turning the broth, you know, I strained it out and everything, ended up using the broth then to turn into the like, you know, for the chicken noodle soup. So I ended up then taking like what was left over of the actual meat and ended up adding it to it. So our chicken ended up, and I had all the ingredients for everything except for celery. That was the only thing I didn't have, but like all the spices and seasonings, I just added water to make the broth. We also had some egg noodles as well, and again the chicken, which was from, you know, again it anyway, and I had like baby carrots and onions. Like I said, I didn't end up having any celery. That was like the only kind of thing that you kind of normally add to chicken noodle soup that I didn't have. But everything else, like I said, was all ingredients that I already had on hand, so I was able to make that. And again too, it was super cheap. But on top of that too, I did wind up having at least a cup of chicken still left over. So originally my mom was going to make like chicken salad with it, but she actually has some already that she bought like pre-made from from Aldi. So I was like, you know what, I'll just freeze the chicken. We can just use it, like I can just use it in the future for either chicken pot pie or chicken noodle soup again, or you know, whatever it is, and I can just have the leftover chicken, because it's all, most of it was, like I said, like the chicken breast, like it was like white meat still. So again, we can pretty much just use it for, like, you know, and again, it was probably at least a good cup or more. It might have honestly been more, like a cup and a half even too, of chicken, like, and it's kind of like shredded chicken that we can just use, and it's plain, it's not seasoned really. I mean, other than just a little bit of seasoning from like the you know, when I cooked it yesterday, I put like, you know, a little bit of a rub on the like the whole chicken when I made it. So like I said, we still have that left over, so I'm probably gonna freeze it. So it's funny, that chicken that I only got for $4 ended up turning into 3 different meals, you know, pretty much. And like I said too, the chicken salad could have went to make, you know, again, lunches or whatever, which was what my mom was planning on doing, but then she realized she had some already in the fridge. So like we didn't end up doing that, but again, we can, you know, like I said, use that in the future, or even too, if I want to freeze it now and in a week or two, we can wind up making chicken salad. And again, that's like a whole, almost another meal for, like, you know, my mom to have for like lunches for a couple days too, or to bring, you know, to work when she goes, you know, for her 2 days out of the week. So like I said, it's pretty, you know, like we get $4 chicken, and again too, most of the other stuff, the spices and seasonings were pennies. You know, again, the carrots only, you know, not even, I got a 2-pound bag or whatever, or I got the 1-pound bag for $1.50 of the organic carrots. You know, the onions probably like no more than 10 cents, you know. So when you like boil it down, quite literally, because that's what I was doing today, it was probably around, definitely well under $10, and we're gonna, like I said, go for 3 meals. And again, it depends on what we'll have, the, you know, the leftover chicken that I'm gonna freeze for. It depends on what we'll make with it, that, like I said, the extras kind of will wind up costing, but it's still pretty much $10. I made 3 dinners, you know, or again, 3 type of meals, or at least 2 dinners and leftovers for, and we also too, I had at least 2 more servings of soup left over in addition to that too. And I told you guys too, yesterday when we did the chicken, I ended up using that, the mashed potatoes that I actually got, like the Bob Evans mashed potatoes. I got those free with that, the Ibotta offer over Thanksgiving. I think the sell-by date is the end of the month, so I had just enough time, kind of used up in the perfect amount of time. And so we ended up doing that yesterday for dinner. So, and again, that was free to me, you know, with that, you know, the Ibotta offer. So we ended up doing that with dinner for the chicken and, you know, mashed potatoes last night, and we had applesauce too, but like that was kind of the sides, plus we also had our side salad, which we normally wind up having. So again, like all that stuff, and again, dinner tonight again was, like I said, very, very cheap. It was like under $10 really, and again, I still have leftover chicken that I can freeze to again use for something else, which is awesome. So anyways though, guys, that's really cool. Like I said, you know, getting to, like, that's kind of like stretching your pennies, like, you know, where again, you can use the chicken and you use the whole entire thing, and you use the bones, and you use, you know, the fat and all that kind of stuff, and you turn it into like really good, you know, like chicken noodle soup, you know, from chicken broth that you're making from scratch, and then the leftover chicken meat too that you're adding to the soup from, again, a dinner that you had the night before. That, you know, again, chicken's kind of like, I cooked mine pretty much the same way as we normally do our turkey kind of for Thanksgiving, except I did it in the slow cooker, and again, it was turkey, it was chicken and not turkey. But you know, I kind of used a little bit of the similar like seasonings and things like that, but like I was saying, it's just, you know, like it was pretty simple and easy. And then again too, we would just bought the one, and it turned into, again, multiple, you know, meals and things like that, which is really awesome. And that's the kind of stuff that, like I was saying, like pinching your pennies, like you gotta kind of look at it like that. Like chicken breast costs the exact same, but I probably won't get as much out of, you know, all of that, the meals in general, that I was able to, you know, again, the chicken was smaller. I didn't get, you know, like I said, you know, the bones weighed a lot, and we're not eating the bones, so you're paying for that in like the poundage, and that's not something that's edible. But again too, when you wind up using it to make chicken noodle soup with, and you wind up doing it as a full dinner, and you use, like I said, the leftovers and the scraps and stuff like that for then the chicken noodle soup, you can wind up, again, turning it into pretty good meal for, you know, again, the next day, which is what we do with, you know, also our turkey. After Thanksgiving, my mom makes turkey noodle soup. So, and normally it's not the next day. We normally wind up doing like leftovers right after Thanksgiving. And then it's like the day after that or the following day that we'll do like turkey noodle soup for like normally 2 days after. But we also do that too with our ham. If we wind up getting a big cut of ham for, I've done it for Christmas too, but a lot of times we normally do ham for Easter. Next day or two, potentially after Easter, we'll wind up doing like a split pea soup, because you can add in like the ham bone to like split pea soup, and then it also, again, it kind of does the same thing a little bit as like the chicken noodle soup, where you're getting like extra nutrients, you're getting a little bit of that extra meat left over, you know, all that kind of stuff. So anyways, I thought I'd just share that with you guys, because this is, I've done it before, but like, I don't know, I felt like the process, the way I did it today, was a lot easier. I don't know if I just made it more difficult on myself, but like what I'll also do sometimes is I will just freeze the entire like ham bone afterwards, or like the chicken bones and stuff like that afterwards, and then later I will turn it into like chicken noodle soup or whatever. But today I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna scrap what I originally had planned for dinner tonight, and I'm gonna wind up doing the chicken noodle soup because I already had that in the fridge. So like I said, the process, I ended up doing it a little bit differently, and it was a little bit easier because I actually cooked the chicken down to make the broth in a Dutch oven on the stove instead of doing it in the slow cooker, which is where I do it a lot of times. Then when I went to go and actually make the soup, I did it in the slow cooker, mainly just more to keep it warm, kind of. But again, that was kind of, like I said, my whole process, and it worked out a lot easier than I feel like I've done in the past. And a lot of times too, I will just, like, sometimes if I make a whole chicken too, I will just be like, you know, I'll tell my mom, like, if you want to use the leftovers to make chicken noodle soup, you can, kind of thing, because normally, like I said, she's good at it, and she does that a lot of times for Thanksgiving. But again, I did the whole process myself today, and again, it was really cheap, so you can't, again, it wasn't super time consuming either. It was just cutting up a couple things, no more than really making like a normal meal would have taken me. Like, you know, again, it was a little bit of prep in the morning to make the broth, and then again a little bit in the afternoon to make the soup, and that was kind of it. So anyways, I'm going to go and take a shower now and get to bed. I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. Though if you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.